Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Sunday night's edition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. As usual, great to have everyone who has joined us on the show tonight. And I will start off by saying hello to everyone that has joined us this evening. So, first of all, good evening, Mary Boysworth. Nice to have you here tonight. Michelle Freeman, great to have you. My good friend and colleague Justin Kinney, great to have you on the show tonight. Sherry Thomas, great to have you here, Miss Thomas, as always. Lee Wright, great to have you. Dan Burks and Vuk Bucaruso. Nice to have all you people here tonight and joining me on the show. And as usual, I look forward to hearing your comments and what you want to talk about because I think that's what this show needs to be tonight. It needs to be what you're thinking about and what you want to talk about. I'm going to just mention a few things here this evening, but I really would like to hear what you want to talk about tonight. So, somebody else just joined the show. Welcome, uh, uh, Bill Campbell. Thanks for joining me tonight here on the show, and I look forward to seeing your comments this evening. So, just want to let everybody, we just celebrated Memorial Weekend, which is the unofficial start of summer. Summer officially doesn't start till June 20th, but Memorial Day is considered the unofficial start of summer. But I think we all had a good Memorial Day celebration last weekend because last weekend's show was right before the holiday on Monday. I'm hoping everybody had a great holiday. Celebrated our veterans who had sacrificed uh, everything so that we could have freedom. That's a very sacred holiday for us here in America, Memorial Day. So we give thanks to those who gave all. They gave everything so that we could have freedom, and we thank those men from the bottom of our hearts for their sacrifices. Um, so then also we've got a concert series that will be continuing on June the 14th in Old Town. You will have the concert series that the city has, and I think that'll wrap their series up. The 14th will be their finale of their concert series, and I intend to go to it. I intend to go to the concert series and have a good time and celebrate. That'll be the day after my birthday, so that'll probably be my birthday celebration is going to the concert in Old Town. I'm going to look forward to doing that. Sand Sky, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on tonight. It's glad to have you here joining us on Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox, and it's always good to have you. Corliss Turner, good evening, Corliss. Great to have you on the show tonight, as always. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for everything you do here for all the people in Rockdale County, helping spread the word about things. George Kilichek putting a notice up here, George, and I'll go ahead and highlight that one. Stormwater Sewerage Advisory Council meeting tomorrow, Monday at 5 p.m. The CE Steel Building open to the public, so that'll be good to do. If I can make it my way down here to cancel this one out. My clicker don't want to work. There we go. I'm doing it. John Bowers, good evening. Catherine Lynn, good evening. Clayton Orwig, tardy but present. I like that. CJ Lester, good evening, CJ. Again, second most popular podcaster in Rockdale County, CJ Lester. Good inside joke there, right, CJ? So, but yeah, we're glad to have all you guys joining the show tonight, and great to be there. Marie Withers present and accounted for also. So it was great to have the audience building and such. And yeah, George, has there been one of the advisory council meetings yet, or will this be the first one that we've had since this committee has been organized to take the place of the Water and Sewer Authority? Which, I've already said, they're doing this, but I wish we would have the actual real authority, because they don't really have the authority to disband the authority. Only the legislature can disband the authority. And I take offense when government entities try to rewrite legislation they don't have the authority to rewrite. The Water and Sewer Authority can only be disbanded by an act of the legislature, because it was created by an act of the legislature. And to commit to form this kind of committee that has no authority shows you they don't want the real Water and Sewer Authority in place, because they don't want an authority in place that has authority. So just saying, it is very troublesome when you see government, in my opinion, not living up to expectation and transparency. You can say you're transparent all you want. When you create a fake committee and not the real committee, it lacks transparency. It's not even my opinion. That's reality. That's reality. It's reality. Michelle Freeman, I like to put that one up there, Michelle. I think that's a good one to put up there. Does George Killichek know how much he is appreciated? I would like to thank him for his dedication. Even though some people criticize George for his dedication and speaking up, I think he's correct. So CJ, that's an interesting thing there. So back in the day, I was the chairman of a certain party, and I actually presented questions to the other party and asked them, can't we just submit the same questions? And it was ignored. I think you'll have one side that's willing to do it and the other side not willing to do it. That's just my opinion. It's what I have experienced in the past. One group willing to ask whatever questions everybody agrees, and one group not wanting to do it. That's what I've seen. So George says this is the first step to re-implement the authority, or is it the first step in bypassing the authority? Just different perspective. So is it the first attempt? Is it the first thing into re-implement the authority, or is it the first step in bypassing the authority? We shall see. The jury is still out, I believe, on that. The jury is out on that, whether it's a bypass or a re-implement. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on with it. It would be real easy just to re-implement it. It'd be called, go ahead and nominate the members that go on the board and say, here you go. You've got members on the board and the board is active. There's no really hard thing about this. It's law. It's set up. It's part of the charter of the Water Authority. It's not hard to really do. It's actually just following the law. So let's try that. Let's actually try following the law. Man, that's a weird concept, right? Follow the law, follow the legislation as it's been set up. Oh, we just had somebody enter the room that I've got to stop and pause and say hello to. My good friend, Senate candidate Donald Ferguson. Can't wait to see Donald out there on the campaign trail, campaigning for Senate 43, bringing representation back to Rockdale County where it needs to be. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson, for putting yourself out there, and thank you for everything that you're going to do for Rockdale County. I believe that you are going to do a good job in that, is what it is. So Yeah, I believe we need to put community first, Michelle. It's all about putting community first and not party affiliations. But those things are deep, and they dig in, and that happens, right? So you're right. It should be about putting community first, and putting the needs of the people first, and not the need of party affiliation first. That's the way some of us look at it, right? Some of us do look at it at that way. Um, and that's why back in 2020 I decided to step away from party politics and declare myself an independent. And so I know I owe no allegiance to anyone, no allegiance to either party. I owe allegiance only to you, the voters of Rockdale County. Not only that, but when I ran for office here last year, I did not accept a single any donations. I just accepted my money, and I think someone did end up writing me a check, and I didn't cash it. Just to be real with you. So, and you're in the chat, the person who wrote me the check, and so just to let you know that money's still in your account, because I never cashed the check, because I just thought long and hard, and I just really felt that I needed to self finance, so that that there just could not be any um, come back at me, that you accepted money from this group, this organization, um, uh, or anything, right? So that's what I decided to do, and I just appreciate the votes and the support that I got from the community. Um, and I intend to move forward as an independent with no party affiliation. That's who I am and who I'm going to be, and I hope you guys appreciate that, and just and respect my thought process on that. But there are many of my friends who will run party affiliated, and no matter which party they run affiliated with, if I think they're the best candidate, like my good friend Donald Ferguson, I will be in their camp and in their corner. So I will be with Donald Ferguson, and help him any way that I can to get elected to office, because I believe Donald Ferguson will be the right person to hold that Senate seat, and I think he'll be the right person to step in and fill that void of representation that Rockdale County lacks. That's just my opinion. So that's where I stand, Rat. So that's where I look at it. But yeah, I mean, I just am excited about Mr. Ferguson and what he plans on doing, and I think it's going to be uh, Mary Boysworth. They sure made a big deal about Democrats versus Republicans on Saturday. Keep bringing it up. Party shouldn't matter. And yes, party. When it comes to these county politics and our local municipality and such, I really think the parties get in the way. They hinder progress, and we need to really focus on community. We need to focus on candidates. And that's what we need to do. That's what I believe. And I am reading your guys' comments and everything, and I think the sentiment in the room is to leave party politics out of local decision making, and I think that's what we need to do. I really do, and I appreciate you guys out there believing we should keep party politics out of local decision making. But unfortunately, uh, the way our system is established now, to run in one of these races, you're gonna have to have a mount. You're gonna have to mount up on one of those parties. You're gonna have to mount up on that either that Democrat Party or Republican Party, and you're gonna have to run for office. And in Rockdale County, there's only one party to mount up on, and that's the Democrat Party. So if you're going to run for one of these partisan elections, you're going to have to run as a Democrat, and locals are going to have to vote in Democrat primaries to have a say and make a difference. And Bill Campbell agrees, and Donald Ferguson agrees also. It's about serving the community as a whole. And that's one thing I've known about Donald Ferguson for a long time, that Donald Ferguson is concerned about serving the community as a whole. And he would be responsive to your communications. He would be responsive to getting back to you. He would make sure that you get a response to emails and phone calls, and he would make sure that your voice is listened to. He'd make sure that you're heard. And you can't ask for more than that, that you're being heard, you're being listened to, and that your wishes are being followed through on. And my friend Donald Ferguson will do that. I know he will. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's very interesting what's going on and what's happening and what we need to do. I mean, because 26 is going to be an interesting year. It's going to be the general election year for the state. That's when we will be electing our statewide constitutional officers, as well as all of our local delegation, House and Senate seats will be up for election. Let's see. And and all you guys are putting that in there, that you don't really care about the party affiliation, that you want the community to be represented as a whole. You're tired of seeing this partisan friction occur, and I agree 100%. Tired of the partisan friction, but like I said, and this again, it's why I left the partisan friction, because like many of I have in the past been affiliated with both parties. I was affiliated with the Democrat Party for over 25 years. I was affiliated with the Republican Party 12, 13 years. So I have had long affiliations with both. I will no longer have a affiliation with either party, but I will have to vote for individuals who belong to both parties. So you will be seeing me pull Democrat tickets at times. You might even see me pull a Republican ticket at times if there's a Republican candidate that I feel I want to vote for. But that's just the way that I see it, right? I see political parties as the enemy of the people. I really, really do. And that's why I'm very content with my Board of Education seat being a nonpartisan, non-party affiliated position. And if I ever do decide to run for something else, you will see me collect the signatures and get on the ballot as an independent. But you don't have to worry about that till a long time from now, because I've told you I totally intend to serve this full term of Board of Education term. And I really believe I need to see how things flow, but I will probably need to serve a second term to be able to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, because government moves slow. Government moves very slow. John Bowers, perfect example. Nationally, the two parties have successfully divided the country and put the country in serious debt, possibly unrecoverable. I agree with that 100%, John, that these two parties have divided us as a nation, but they want to divide us as a nation. So, CJ, he's glad to say he's a Republican and works across the aisle. CJ, I know you believe that that's what you're doing, but you're not working across the aisle. You may have different people come on your show, which I do too. I have Republicans and Democrats come on my show, and that's totally different than being able to work across the aisle legislatively. Very little happens across the aisle legislatively in the state level or the federal government level. It's the party who has the majority who gets things done, and the minority is set in the corner without a say. and that's reality. If Republicans are in charge, they get their way and they pass their legislation. If Democrats are in charge, they get their way and they pass their legislation. As media personalities, we are able to get both sides to come on and hear their talking points. But pay close attention to governing. There is a big difference between bringing people from both sides of the aisle on shows like this than it is getting bipartisan legislation passed at a legislative level. It is virtually impossible. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's not even really my opinion. That's just, that's reality. That's the reality of where we live in. And that goes back to the comment that John Bowers made, that, that nationally, the two parties, and John, would you not agree? It doesn't matter which party is in power, that party increases the debt. That's the party that increased. Both parties have been in charge over the last 30 years, and both parties have increased the debt, and that's reality. Both parties, and there's been very little bipartisan cooperation. You have to go back to really the 90s and Bill Clinton. There was some bipartisan led effort, and that was because the legislature was run by one party and the presidency another, but they worked together. And the same thing in the 80s. We've not had that the parties work together, since Ronald Reagan, Tip O'Neill, and Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich. It's just not happened. It's you've had 30 years since the Clinton administration, and just this deep party divide, and it is destroying the fiber of this country. I firmly believe that it is destroying the fiber of this country. John Bowers, exactly. That was the last time we had a balanced budget. It was when we actually worked together 30 years ago in a bipartisan manner. Not had a balanced budget since. And we won't. We won't but for career politicians don't want us to get along and get together because it defeats their agenda. And that's what we've got to realize, that we're divided nationally, this national stage. Well, they want us to be divided nationally. They want that division because they want to keep us at odds so they can keep spending all your money. And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on, until we learn to get along and dump party allegiance for community and national allegiance. We're in a world of hurt. Yeah, you're right. We've had these spending gaps. John, how long has it been since we've had Clayton? I would argue I would disagree with that if you would attend one of these legislative kumbayas like they had yesterday. If people that attended that and you're in the room, would you acknowledge, did you feel that was a very partisan meeting yesterday? I felt the meeting before started to go in a very partisan manner. And that's where I think you've got to look at is, no, it does reflect in Rockdale County, because the partisanship does hurt us. It does hurt us. Mary Boisworth, yes. Sand Sky, yes. And I was concerned. John, you think it was 2001? I think you might be right about that also. But it's just too partisan. When we get too partisan, with the discussion and what's going on in the room. Uh, uh, and CJ agrees we shouldn't have parties for elections. Um, so Buco Ruco, yes. Yeah, I mean, and then when you have those type meetings and it ends up leaning partisan. uh, Tom Harrison, late but here, uh, it's very difficult to get anything done. It really is, and then people start getting into their feelings, right? And that it's just bad. So I mean, I wish we could stay out of those lanes, but I think talking about it, acknowledging that the problem exists, is one of the ways to actually fix the problem. Because if we don't acknowledge that something exists, then we're never going to work on turning that problem around, or trying to uh, change the direction of that problem. So we have to acknowledge that it exists to be able to fix it, and that's something that we don't want to do. We don't want to talk about it. We don't, because it's best to ignore it. We don't have a problem. It's just somebody's perception, but your perception is reality. How you're perceiving it is what the reality is. Mary Boy, it was good until it went partisan. Uh, Yoga with Joy. Good evening, Joy. Nice to have you on the show tonight. Great to have you. But yeah, guys. I mean, that's what we all got to look at, right? It's We really want to make a difference. We've got to talk about what's going on, and we got to be open and transparent about the conversations we have. And that's ignoring the elephant in the room doesn't help, right? So you got to talk about the 238s. You have to talk about why it didn't pass. What can we do next time to make sure it does? Keeping the foot on the gas with such with such ideas in a community. It's very helpful to do that, and it's very helpful to say, hey, let's get the same questions on both ballots. Approach the chairs of both parties and say, hey, why don't you guys sit down and talk to each other, and let's have the same questions on the ballot. Let's agree on the same questions. Not that hard to do. Not that hard to do, but it will be that hard to do. It will be very difficult to accomplish. I think it will. I think it'll be very difficult to accomplish. But you know what? If you don't try, you don't know. So you got to try. You definitely have to try. So I just think that, as a community and as a county, I've seen a lot of growth in Rockdale County. Corliss Turner, 1,000% right. Just keep voting till we get it right. And, elected officials get upset when you say if they're not doing their job, then maybe we need to replace them. So did y'all make some comments like that maybe yesterday about maybe keeping, electing some people, new people running? Maybe some people in the room got upset. Well, don't get upset. I mean, you know what? I hold a public office, and if somebody runs against me, they run against me, and I'll run a campaign, and I'll try to get reelected. But I'm not going to tell anybody that not challenge me. They don't have the right to run. They have every right to run. And if they think that they want to run for a seat that I hold and they can do better, then by all means run against me. But just to let you know, I am going to run a race against you also, and I'm going to run hard back. But that's who I am, and I expect these other folks to do the same thing. Don't just say, "Don't run against me. I'm doing okay." Why do you want to run against me? Why do you want to take me? Because it's their right to run against you. Don't get upset if somebody decides to get involved in the process, and by running, ask questions and bring change. It doesn't. It's what we need to do. People need to be involved in the election process. We need other people to run. If we don't have other people, they may not be successful that first time they run, but it gives them the experience. It gives them uh, they gain knowledge on what it takes to be a political candidate and prepare themselves for the future. And there's nothing wrong with that. So don't get upset if someone runs for a seat that you happen to be holding at this time, because it's not your seat. You are holding a seat that belongs to the people. Just like the board seat that I'm holding right now. That's not Larry Cox's seat. That's your seat that you're allowing me to occupy for a time period. And I will only occupy that seat for as long as you decide I should be there. And that's the way the system works. So if somebody gets upset because somebody else decides to run for that seat, then they shouldn't be in public service. They should not be in public service at all, because that is not the politician's seat. That is not the elected official's seat. That is your seat. That is your seat. And we need to not forget that. The elected officials need to not forget that. And you, the citizens, need to not forget that that is your seat that you're allowing them to temporarily hold, because those seats are only temporary. You can ask former Commissioner Washington, former Chairperson Nesbitt, former Chairperson Oden, and actually former Senator Vaness, former Commissioner Vaness, because they have all held seats temporarily that you allowed them to hold. And then you, at some point, remove them. And then you may have put them back at another time. But that's totally your choice as voters on how long someone holds that seat and when that seat will not be theirs. That's the way I look at it. And you know, I look forward to what's going to happen here in Rockdale County. I think Donald Ferguson, I like that comment. There are many issues that are not directly addressed in this county, which was known as a retirement community and not a dumping ground. Thank you, Donald Ferguson. That was a very, very good, very poor turnout for a public service commission. I agree, and you have elections in June, and you're not going to have a good turnout. That's just the way it works, right? You're not going to have good turnout. So we'll see what happens with that. So, and I don't know if we should be calling. Of course, you bring your own chair if you want your own seat. That's right. So they're elected. I don't know if we should call them utility commissioners, right? If their job is actually to set utility rates, well, shouldn't we call them utility commissioners or something? Public utility commissioners, because that public service commissioner is like a title to protect them from what they're actually doing. We don't want them to know that they're raising your electric rates, right, and your gas rates. We don't want them to know that they're the individuals that approve the increases to your utility rate increases. So yeah, I think a few years ago, I believe they tried to pass legislation to rename those positions, and it was fought hard. They did not want to change them. But that happens, right? And of course, I think that is a funny comment. She said, if you want your own seat, then bring your own chair. Just saying. So CJ said they're having Tim Echols speaking tomorrow at the Republican Party, the utility commissioner. I think I'm gonna go and ask him if he's the utility commissioner or the public service commissioner, right? I mean, so come on, let's if you do, if that's what your job really is, uh, and I think they get paid 100 grand a year or so to be the utility commissioner. So it's wild and crazy, wild and crazy. So, yeah, guys, I think we're Kelly keyword elected. There you go. That is a paid job with insurance, not a servant. LOL. So, yep, elected paid job exactly. So, guys, I think, like I said, turn the heat up, run more candidates, make them work for the office. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with uh, working to keep your job. Uh, so nothing wrong at all about keeping your job. I think it's more like 225 grand. That's crazy, right? 225 grand. So it's wild and crazy, wild and crazy. But yeah, guys, that's what we're looking at right now. So I think it's interesting what we got going on in this county, what we got going on in this country. So, like I said, get out, make a difference. Get out, vote. Let your voice be heard. Vuko Russo. Let's talk about him and the electric bills after the data centers come in. Uh, so, yep, the data centers. Not a data center fan. I went to a meeting the other day, and there was a guy who talked about AI. He talked about data centers, and he talked about the need for data centers in about 10 years. The guy he's got a degree from MIT, knows all about AI, knows all about data center storage and all this. And he actually said that the way they're going to start storing data in the next 5 to 10 years, they will half the data centers we have now will most likely be closed. So he said, you better get your taxes up front because you're not going to get them in 10 years because they're going to start closing the data centers because you're not going to need the data centers because they're going to store data differently. You remember back in the 70s when they had these buildings that would store these servers for computers? Now, uh, this right here will store as much as one of those 5-story buildings with processors in every single room stacked and packed. So what he was explaining to me the other day, John, I'm gonna go there too. I'm gonna go there too. That's also what he said. He said that the power grid is such a disaster that there's no way that the power grid is going to be able to handle these data centers no matter how many substations you build. Doesn't matter about substations, it's the grid itself. He said, and the grid is in such disarray, and that it is no way the grid is going to be able to handle what capacity that these stations are going to need. And then you throw on the needed electricity for EVs, you're headed for disaster when it comes to what we're looking at for electricity here in the United States and the need when you throw in data centers and EVs. So, Donald Ferguson, AI is destroying this country. So guys, I'm just telling you, we've got a lot of things that we can look at and what's happening. I think, Donald, we got AI can be helpful and it can be harmful. And we've got to be very careful with the direction that we go with AI in this country. We have to be very careful with the way that we go with AI in this country, because we can go in the wrong direction with that in a heartbeat. I agree with you. Uh, that's just reality. It is reality. So I think this has been a lively conversation. I really love all the interaction on the chat tonight. Donald Ferguson, because we've been electing artificial intelligence to office for too long. John Bowers, what? That's a hell of a comment, John. Just got to say, John, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to disagree. I think if we would have been electing artificial intelligence, we may be better off than we are now. I'm not certain if we've been electing any intelligence. Uh, uh, right? I don't know if we've been electing any intelligence to office. So I think that may be our problem. So artificial intelligence may have been a step up, may have been a step up. That's just crazy, right? Just crazy. But yeah, guys, I think what we got going on is wild. It's crazy. I think that you're gonna see Rockdale County elections in the next few years they're going to make history in Georgia. They are. You've got folks from Newton County coming to Rockdale County meetings to learn about how we do it, what we're doing, how we're involved, how we're vetting our politicians. I think it's going to be interesting, right? So I think that's going to be something we need to look at is, when we've got other people paying attention, not the politicians in Rockdale County, but they're paying attention to the citizens of Rockdale County. They're paying attention to our organizations and our groups and how we're vetting candidates and how we're challenging candidates, how we're challenging our public officials, how we're questioning them, and how we're replacing them when they need replaced. So there's where I think it's going to be interesting in Rockdale County. So I think we could end up being an example for the rest of the state of Georgia on how you possibly could get it right. So that's why I encourage us in Rockdale County to keep doing the things that we're doing, keep moving forward with the challenging of elected officials, the challenging of political offices, making them answer for their decisions, because it's the only way for the people to actually have their voice be heard, is to make elected officials know there's a consequence for your actions. If your actions don't line up with our desires, then we don't need you any longer. That's the way I see it. I see it that way. Guys, I'm going to tell you what, I've enjoyed this conversation tonight, but I'll tell you what I'm going to enjoy even more. I'm going to enjoy getting off of here and relaxing the rest of the evening. I've got to take a trip tomorrow morning up to Chattanooga. So I got to get up very early and beat Atlanta traffic up there. I've got a meeting on the side of the highway. So I'm going to let you off this evening so I can relax this evening, get to bed early so that I can go to a meeting tomorrow on the side of the highway. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me tonight. I look forward to next Sunday. Join me again at 8 p.m., Facebook and YouTube. Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. And let's do this all over again. Thank you.